football tonight. This is the first year that you remember Conference USA signed this deal. Said, hey, apparently, you took a little notes from Maction.
Yeah,
it's very popular, and some Fun Belt. It's now Conference USA, good old USA. USA hopping in here. I think we have football 54 of the next 55 days.
Yeah, because I think last night was the last one, right?
Yeah, something like that.
For a while?
Yeah.
I don't know what's playing next Tuesday.
No, I believe you're right. And then we have Tuesday action coming up, too. I told Reed that.
Okay, so we do still get action this year, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
But is the Sun Belt not playing any Tuesday or Wednesday games?
They are.
Okay.
Like, everybody's doing it. Everyone's doing it. But no, I told my wife that last night. She was like, great.
She wasn't excited about it?
Well, it's just like, I got to watch it. So, when I'm sitting down there, I'm like watching it, computing it, to be able to talk about it. And she's over there. She's read a lot of books. Like, she reads really fast. It's weird, too.
Speed reader?
I don't know. Well, her name's Reed, so it makes sense. But, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, I would rather watch. I'll wait till the movie comes out. The Rangers beat the Rays 4-0 as playoff baseball begins. Parker Thune from Rivals joins us to break down the Red River Shootout. That's right, the Red River Shootout. And we're previewing some of the top SEC matchups coming up this Saturday. I'm Jake Crane. It's Wednesday, and welcome to Crane & Company. Now, Missouri hasn't gotten a ton of pub this year. They're probably one of the quietest 5-0 teams I've seen in a while from a PR standpoint, and their profile has yet to reach its peak under head coach Eli Drinkwitz. But this Saturday, they can make a huge statement to the college football world that Missouri Gold isn't of the fool's kind. It's for real. Now, LSU isn't undefeated. This isn't the number one matchup against number one Oklahoma from 2013, and they are reeling from getting shredded by Ole Miss's offense. But outside of Kansas State, this is Missouri's biggest test to date. Hell, I mean, it's the midterm, if we're going to be honest. And with trips looming to Kentucky and Georgia, it's about as must-win as it gets for Missouri to stay in the thick of the SEC race. Now, there are a lot of factors that will play a part in the outcome of this game. But there's one huge glaring statistic that if Missouri cleans up, they'll not only beat LSU, but it's going to help them along the road to stay alive in the hunt for the SEC. Now, this Missouri defense is damn good against the run. In fact, they're 13th in the country in opponent rush yards per play and 10th in opponent rushing yards per game. But they have been a sieve against the pass. Missouri ranks 98th in opponent completion percentage and 101st in passing yards given up per game. And if that continues, LSU with Jaden Daniels and the rest of the creatures they have on that offense will have a field day, and they will score at least 50. Now, Missouri can stay in a track meet because they're top 10 in passing against an LSU defense that's been gashed multiple times. But something has to give. You have to remedy your weaknesses. And if Missouri can remedy that just a little bit, they have a great chance against LSU. I'd even given them advantage. But if not, we're in store for another Globetrotter-style game. And I do not think LSU is going to lose another track meet. Now, I'm going to bring in co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cone, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. Look, there's a ton of ways. Looking at stats. Stats tell a lot, right? Box scores always say that they're like a trailer for a movie. They give you an idea of what's going on, but they don't tell the whole story.
Sure.
Something we talked about in the offseason, too, to go along with this, David, is Brady Cook, who was in a quarterback battle. We talked about this multiple times. He showed flashes last year of being a guy that could be a heck of a player down the road. But there'd be those 3 or 4 instances during games, and a lot of times they were when he was outside the pocket or when he was improvising, where the mistakes would happen, where he would try and force it, kind of try and play high school ball a little bit, try and play hero ball a little bit. It seems he's figured that out. But if they get in a shootout with LSU, I don't think that is a great recipe, even with Luther Burden and Schrader and Weiss and the guys that they have. I don't think that's the recipe for Missouri to be able to win this thing.
Maybe not, but I don't think they're going to have a choice because I think LSU is just going to score points. I mean, with Jaden Daniels on the other side, Malik Neighbors, LSU is going to put up points. So the question is, can Brady Cook and Luther Burden just freak out and win one of those sorts of games? The thing I'm looking at for this is turnovers. And first of all, just a shout out to Eli Drinkwitz and what Missouri's been able to do so far with the 5-0 start. That win against Kansas State. Kansas State's a good football team. Man. And then you look at not dropping the ones that you're slightly favored. And I look at a game like Memphis. Memphis is a good football team. Memphis could go in there and win that game. And in both of those games, Missouri's win over Kansas State and Memphis, Missouri's defense was able to create turnovers. All right. In LSU's 2 losses against Florida State and against Ole Miss, they turned the football over. Can Missouri's defense turn LSU over? I still think LSU is going to score a lot of points, but can they turn them over and maybe get some short field, stay in plus territory a bit, and maybe get a couple cheap scores in addition to what I think is going to happen for Missouri, which is Brady Cook and Luther Burden really go off.
Yeah, and you look at the game they played, talking about Missouri against Middle Tennessee State, where they only won by 4. Sometimes those, using the transitive property can kind of be a misnomer. I don't suggest it for anybody that bets either. But Blaine, when you look at a team like LSU, with what they have on the offensive line coming back, offense has obviously not been the problem, except for, I would say, you look at the Florida State game, early in that game, they got in the red zone, weren't able to score, which is that Missouri's best chance to be able to keep LSU under 40 points is they're going to get yards in between the 20s, holding them to field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, because I don't see a team totally shutting down, even when LSU goes to Alabama. With the way Jaden Daniels is playing right now, with the way he's now utilizing every third of the field, from the deep third to the intermediate to the short, the way they're able to run the ball, Brian Thomas emerging with Malik Neighbors, who we know is a problem, Mason Taylor at tight end, and that running back room is high quality. I just don't see a world in which they hold LSU under 24 points and win this one 27-24. But can you win it 38-27? Can you win it 38-30? That's
kind of how they've been winning games. And, I mean, you go back and look at this Missouri team. I'm interested to see what their plan is going to be defensively. Graded can stop the run. They're giving up 73 yards a game. Do you heat Jaden Daniels up early? Because at this point, there's one thing I do not want to do. I do not want to get beat by Jaden Daniels' feet. I want to keep him in the pocket, and I'm going to make him throw checkdowns after checkdowns and checkdowns. Because Jaden Daniels will get greedy at some point. I think he will. I know he's having a phenomenal year. I think if I'm Missouri, obviously you have to win in the red zone. That's a must. You have to give up field goals. That'll be a job you have to do. But what are you going to do defensively? Front seven's good for Missouri. We're talking about their secondary's not great. Do you heat Jaden up? You have to do something. Because if you sit back in coverage, he will pick you apart.
Yeah.
He will pick you apart.
Yeah, well, and again, I get worried about that if I'm really good at stopping the run. And then I say, all right, I'm going to heat you up, which, outside of zone pressures, fire zones, things like that, means you're playing man in the back end. Do I want to give Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, because we've seen Jaden throw the deep ball, and he can put it through a donut hole from however far out you want. Do we sit here and say, listen, we know LSU is going to have try and have some semblance of balance. If LSU is going to dink and dunk us, let them dink and dunk us. We'll get down to the red zone where the field shrinks, where we're good against the run, and hold them to field goals. I just wonder with this LSU, because Jaden Daniels is one of the most underrated parts about Jaden Daniels is his ability to identify coverages. I don't think he gets enough credit for making the right decision with the ball pre-snap and then while the play is going on. I think that's one of his strengths. And then obviously his ability to run and extend the play outside and inside the pocket. I just don't know if I want to give LSU that. Not saying you never pressure. Like, you got to pick your times. So we're going to talk about that with Oklahoma, that pressure's almost at a 30% rate. But do you want to give them the chance to hit that big play? Or do you say, listen, let's prove that we can stop the run when they get down in the red zone. Let's make them kick 40-yard field goals because we think we can score touchdowns against this LSU defense. To me, I think that's just a more logical recipe.
You can't win in zone coverage. I mean, if you're already getting shredded.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're
already getting shredded.
If you're blitzing, coverage, though, you're not.
I would rather, if I'm going to get beaten in zone coverage, I'd rather at least bring some gas at you.
I get it.
So zone pressure. So
zone pressure, the fire zone pressure, I think, may be the answer here. But it's tough because if you're talking about bringing pressure in the cover 1 or cover 0 look, the man coverage like he's talking about, I'm seeing Malik Neighbors having 200 yards in the first half like he did a few weeks ago and three touchdowns.
You got to have someone of the safety.
If you bring the fire zone pressure, though, Jaden Daniels is an experienced guy, right, who can make those reads. I think that could be the answer down the stretch. But also, if you sit back in a shell look, he can check the runs. He can, like you said, pick you apart a little bit. At least then it'd be a little bit slower. And maybe to your point at the beginning, you would keep from getting in a track meet. But that's one of the things about having an experienced quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Give him multiple looks, fine. But he's good at reading multiple looks.
Yeah, got to mix it up.
If it's me, I am running zone coverage against Jaden Daniels most of the time because a place that he kills people is he is one of the best at realizing you're in man and taking off when everybody's back's turned. I think Jackson Dart, that game against LSU and Ole Miss, there was multiple times where that happened.
Shedeur Sanders is another one. I would run more zone pressure looks against someone like Shedeur
I'm with
Sanders.
that.
He picks man apart.
Well, I mean, zone pressure is basically, if we're going to be honest, if we're sitting here playing, cover 3 and bringing a fire zone or bringing a zone pressure, it's basically a spy anyway. You're bringing a guy from depth, so he's reacting to where Jaden Daniels is. He can leverage him, and it's kind of in that same vein. But I'm very interested to see it because I think Missouri is going to be able to score points against this LSU defense. We want to know what you think. We have live call-ins today. We're going to start. The lines are going to open up at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We want to know what you think. We got some great matchups, not only just in the SEC, but throughout college football this weekend. I'm really excited about all the way from the Pac-12 to the ACC, obviously to the Big 12. So we're really excited about it. But before we get to the Booster Club, something else we're excited about, good skincare. All right? You got to take care of yourself. We talk about this all the time with multiple ones of our sponsors. You got to look good to play good. You got to feel good to go out there and be at your best, all right? And it's no secret that we're all loving the Genucel Dark Spot Corrector.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
It's out there.
We all use it. You got dark spots. You're running around, looking like a Dalmatian or a twister board. You need some help, okay? Or you don't want Cruella de Vil showing up and 100 other your friends. We want you to look good, all right? So whether that's dark spots, liver spots, sunspots, and it works instantly. I mean, instantly, and they're so confident. Our friends at Genucel are so confident in their products. You can try them for yourself completely risk-free. And if you don't see results in one day, uno dia. I really think that's how you say it.
Well done.
You're going to get your money back. You get that dinero back in your pocket.
Wow.
All right? So it's simple. Go to genucel.com/booster. That's GENUCEL.com/booster and start looking years, even decades younger tomorrow. Yeah, they cracked the code. Say hello to the best skin you've ever had at genucel.com/booster. That's GENUCEL.com/booster. Also, we're going to put the link for some of our merch into the chat. After you hit that like button, if you want to donate, get your question read, that's great. We'd love for you to go buy some of that merch. We're almost sold out. We got some new stuff we want to put in there, a new Booster Club logo, which we need to kind of tease that, to show that to the people at some point.
I think you're right.
I think they like it because I know some of y'all would buy that instantly. But it helps us out, helps you out, helps out America. So we appreciate it. All right.
All right, Booster Clubs, have a great day. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you don't, I'm going to show up at your house. Let's go to Shane Dial. What's up, Shane? He said, pick Missouri, but LSU, if they're still worth their salt, should be come back angry. Still, I still think Missouri may be a little bit too much at home.
Well, it's, again, there's a ton of pressure on both teams. This isn't one of those instances where you're like, all right, all the pressure's on the road team coming in, or all the pressure is on there's pressure on both teams. If you're LSU, you're sitting at 3-2, okay? But I don't think LSU is out of it like Clemson's out of it. And the reason I say that's because of this. You got Bama on the road. If LSU wins out, all right, they win out. You beat Bama on the road, right? And I'm not saying they're gonna, but just from the dream crusher standpoint of, is our season over? You went out, you beat Bama, you beat, let's say, Georgia, an undefeated Georgia team in the SEC championship. I don't know how they keep LSU out of the playoff.
That's what I said at the beginning of the year.
I don't know.
The winner of the SEC is making it in, and it's possible for the winner of the SEC to have 2 losses. Even though 6 weeks in now, I'm starting to think for the first time, man, if the winner of the SEC has 2 losses,
there's just no way, David.
Maybe this would be the first time they'd keep the conference. I mean, if Florida State goes unbeaten and Texas goes unbeaten, and you're going to have, the Big Ten East is going to take care of itself. Let's see what happens in the Pac-12. It's starting to shape up. It's starting to get interesting.
Well, here's the caveat. People say, Jake, well, LSU's already lost an SEC game. Yes, that was to Ole Miss, okay, who has one SEC loss to Bama. But Ole Miss has to go to Georgia. All right, so if LSU wins out, I right now I'm not feeling like Ole Miss, not that they can't, but I don't think they're going to beat Georgia on the road. That would give them 2 losses, and it could really come down to, this is going to get so wonky at the end in the SEC West, because if A&M beats Alabama, and then Alabama beats LSU,
and LSU beats
Texas, like this, it's going to get very, very wonky. And look, Texas A&M, I believe, has got to go to Tennessee, right? I believe they have that crossover game as well. I may be wrong on that, but it's going to be very interesting.
They do not. So LSU has this left.
Yeah, they do. Texas A&M goes to
Texas A&M goes to
I thought you said Tennessee.
Yeah.
They go to Tennessee.
But in that same vein,
next they go to Tennessee next week after Alabama.
Really?
And Tennessee has a bye week this weekend.
But I've heard Joe Milton's not playing in that game. A birdie told me that yesterday. It may be out there. Yeah, we need to double check that. Somebody sent me that. I didn't see it. Typically, if I don't see it with
so
my time,
bye week.
Well, they're on a bye right now.
That's what I said. They said Joe Milton's not going to play against A&M.
That's probably good for Tennessee, to be honest.
I don't know. We don't know. It's an unknown. It may be. I mean, hell, but typically playing young guys in big games.
I've only heard good things about this freshman, though.
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Let's go to Texas. Hey, what up, buddy? So Jaden Daniels' ball placement is so impressive. It's elite. It can look like a down the field handoff almost. It's so perfect.
The deep balls. If you want to see a clinic on where to put a deep ball, and I know Mississippi State's not the best team in the world, but goodness gracious, some of the throws that Jaden Daniels made against Mississippi State are they're perfect, right? It's not like the ones where he put it in a spot where really only his guy could get it.
Yeah.
He put it in a spot where his guy could not get it. Like there's no way you couldn't catch it. It was such a.
I've been watching this kid since Arizona State, man. Obviously, he's been skinny and kind of undersized right when he got into college, but there were some throws he would even make as a freshman and things he would do as a freshman. I'm like, man, this kid's.
Well, Jaden Daniels is like that kid that in baseball that you looked at like that's thin and raily. And you're like, all right, like he's 6'1", like he's not 6'8", thin and raily, just coming down from a skyscraper on you, but he's pumping like 96.
Or he just goes.
Like how is he doing this? Like from a physics and science standpoint, how is he throwing this hard? Jaden Daniels gets easy gas, man. It's like that. I bring Rita up again. We were watching Major League Baseball playoffs last night. And she's like, because I forgot who was pumping like 98. The Jax guy from not the Twins, but. Yeah, from I believe the Twins was pumping like 98, like it was nothing.
Yeah, that's the normal.
Him or the Rays, but it didn't look tough. Like because there was another guy that was straining earlier in the game. He was like, it looks like he's not even trying to throw hard. I was like, yeah, honey, that's why he's in the major leagues.
Absolutely. Let's go to Chris Walton. He says this will be the first year an SEC team doesn't make it into the playoff. UGA will not make it in with one loss.
I just don't see a world in which, with what's going to happen in the Pac-12, because most of those top teams play each other multiple times because there's multiple top teams. I just don't see a world in which the SEC champion does not get in the conference.
I understand where you're coming from. I do agree with the first part of his statement, though. This is the first year where it's at least possible.
It's a possibility.
I disagree with the second part that it would be a one-loss SEC champ Georgia team that wouldn't get in. I think they get in.
Yeah. I think
you'd have to have a two-loss SEC champ, and then the conversation would still be ongoing.
Well, and you look at who would be that team to maybe possibly keep a two-loss SEC champion out? Would it be Notre Dame? Right? I mean, would that be your not flying the ointment? But if let's say Oregon runs the table, and Texas runs the table, and Michigan runs the table,
there's only so many spots.
And Notre Dame is 11-1 with their one loss. Being at home against, or let's say Ohio State runs the table, beats Michigan, and Notre Dame's only loss in there at 11-1 is against Ohio State, who wins the Big Ten, and then you've got a two-loss SEC champ with Notre Dame's schedule. Like you can make fun of Notre Dame's schedule a lot of years before that. You can't make fun of it now. I mean, look, they're playing this week. Louisville. Damn.
Yeah, they'd have wins over USC still. That means they have a win on the road at Clemson. That would mean so.
Yeah, if Notre Dame only loses one game this season, I don't know how you not put them in.
We'll see.
All right, let's go to Sister Riggs. He says, so if LSU doesn't come out hot, will they be able to adjust by the end of the game, or do you think they'll just lay down?
Well, I think the offense will keep them in it. Are you talking about if they don't come out hot?
LSU does not come out hot.
I think LSU's got some fight in them, but I look on defense, and I said this yesterday when I went on Moscona, man. It's just weird. It's got to be a mental thing with LSU getting physically whipped like this.
Yeah.
They're not perfect and schematic. They've had times where they've been in the wrong leverage, and they've had guys overrun gaps, and they haven't lined up right. They've been a gap short on defense or busted a coverage. But to me, those are just some symptoms of the main problem. It seems like mentally that they're just not the same LSU defense. They don't hold themselves in the highest regard. I think there is a lack of a fear of failure. I think a little bit of fear of failure is a good thing. And when I watch LSU, they have the personnel to be able to fix it. Said it yesterday. It's not like South Carolina's offensive line, which I just don't know how you fix that. They're just not
No,
good.
you can't.
Like there's some personnel that has a chance to be able to fix it because the players are good enough, and then there's you having to just try and smoke and marry your way through it. Like, and you can blame, not going to get somebody in the portal at South Carolina, and that, regardless of who you blame, that's where they're at right now. But LSU has the personnel to be able to fix it.
Let's go to Maximum Ball with the $5 donation. Appreciate it. He says, I think Joe Milton is playing, but he had an oddly worded tweet about his cousin's wedding on the same day as the game.
Get ready for the fall wedding memes after that.
I swear everything I love. If Joe Milton versus a football game for his cousin's wedding, get your shit.
First off,
get out of the locker room.
First off, like, what are you doing scheduling like, in general? I'm not even talking about being Joe Milton's cousin, but like just because you got to like football, I would think, right? Even if it's a girl, you got to know, hey, we can't have a wedding during the fall because first off, it's football season. All right, just normal world, no connection. Hey, but also there's a connection. My cousin is the starting quarterback for Tennessee. So, just awful planning.
But it's great weather.
Who cares? It's called football weather for a reason. It's called football. There's great weather in the spring, too.
It's the female perspective.
Look, we got married in the fall.
Look, first off, how dare you assume their gender? First off. And second off,
I'm saying my female perspective.
Well, how dare you assume your own gender?
Yeah, don't assume your own gender.
Don't assume your own gender.
Come on, PJ.
God, bigot. All right. Let's go to rapid fire. We'll get back
Rapid fire. Major League Baseball playoffs, we have to start with the Minnesota Twins. The streak is over. The postseason losing streak, the longest in North America men's professional sports at 19 years and 18 games, is over after their 3-1 victory yesterday over the Blue Jays.
Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl.
Flint, Michigan Mega
Flint, Michigan,
Bowl.
off the schneid. And you know what? The whole time I'm watching, I picked the Twins yesterday. And we'll get to that in bets. But the whole time I'm watching the Twins game, I'm just thinking about, I believe it's Jack from Minnesota, who and I may be wrong. It may be another club from Minnesota who calls all the time and is like, do you think the Twins can just win one playoff game?
There they
For the love of God, please. And the whole time, like that when he walked, when it was 3-1 and there was 2 outs, and they walked the guy with 2 outs in the top of the ninth.
Yeah.
You could just feel like all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I forgot who was up, but it's somebody who could absolutely rake. And I was like, is he about to hit a 2-run dong and send this thing into extras? But they didn't. The Twins won. Some great baseball yesterday, man. That just the pitching in general. Like, I know that Corbin ended up getting lit up. That was a big win for the Diamondbacks. I don't want to jump too far ahead of you. But man, there was just some great performances on the mound.
Also, Royce Lewis with the 2 home runs, 3
baby.
RBIs, man, for the Twins.
Just
Huge
names.
Yeah. Rangers.
The Rolls Royce.
Rangers 4-0. Blank the Rays. Thank you.
Great pick by you, Dave. You, the resident Rangers fan, Dave. I'm happy. I'm happy for Caleb. CEO too. I mean, they're in it. After kind of falling off a cliff there at the end of the year, I've obviously had injury problems, but look, they showed up, man. They showed up. It was tight early, but look, when you get up there and they're really competitive at bats. But the Rays defense, especially in center field. Come on, dog.
Sloppy.
You can't be doing that.
You can't be throwing to the wrong base.
No. You get paid too much to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't be throwing to the wrong base and letting
Jordan Montgomery's absolutely slinging the pill.
Dude, I tell you, Zach Wheeler last night for the Phillies.
Phillies look good. 4-1 over the Marlins.
So I was just sitting there watching that, and
it has to suck.
Well, it's again like
it has to suck.
You see it and just painting pretty pictures. Like, I'm talking about down in the zone. It's funny you call it the sweeper. I'm like, okay,
the sweeper.
Stop calling it the sweeper.
Come on, we have names for these pitches already.
But when you're sitting there and you're tasting the 2-seam and the sinker, if you get hit with the slide piece,
that's
he
throws 97.
Oh, dude, easy.
Oh God,
easy.
You're guessing. I don't care.
How do you
here's
make
what you
contact
do.
with the ball?
Here's what you do. You do one of two things. You either just guess fastball every time.
Literally.
Because I don't know how you don't guess fastball every time and then adjust to the fastball when it's coming 98. Or you just happen to guess off speed and got it right. And if you do that, you better get it.
Mm-hmm.
You better get it. But I watched the Johan Rojas kid for the Phillies last night. I talked about competitive at bats earlier. He had an at bat where I'm like, how you take that? It's, again, I will say this about Major League Baseball. The most impressive thing about Major League Baseball players in the box is not the home runs. It's not the doubles. It's the takes.
The takes, yeah.
The takes on the borderline strikes, where they're just like, nope, just spitting on it. That's the most impressive.
Also, the Diamondbacks with a nice road win, 6-3 over the Brewers. Let's go to the NFL here. Jameson Williams back for the Lions now after his 6-game ban was lifted to 4 games. I think the NFL and the NFLPA got together and tweaked some of the betting.
Well, like now, if you like bet on and they catch you, it's like a 2-year suspension.
If it's your own team, it's 2 years. If it's another team, it's 1 year. If it's other sports around the country, it's more back to this.
How can I not bet on other sports?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's the most ridiculous thing. Like here, I'm Jameson Williams, a wide receiver for the Lions. I'm going to bet on the Rangers to win tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Not Jameson Williams.
I think it has to be at the team facility, maybe.
Maybe that's the
maybe
rule?
the Booster Club can check us out.
Yeah, let's just go.
Either way,
to local Hooters.
The
man.
Lions, who are already all these weapons on offense, now get Jameson Williams back early.
So here's my thing in my survivor pool, still in it. All right, fighting hard. Panthers go to the Lions this week. They get J-Mo. Haven't used the Lions. I took the Niners last week. I still got the Chiefs. I haven't played. I still got the Bills. I haven't played. I've still got basically all the Dolphins.
So you're looking at who the Panthers are playing week by week?
A little bit, especially now that Bryce is back playing. Andy Dalton, I picked him. He scared me. Scary. Andy scared me.
I like that
You got
pick.
gene deficiency, man. You got to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's gingivitis, just do, rocking around the field. But look, I mean, I got to go with the gumball smuggler at home.
I mean, look, as a guy who has Jared Goff on his fantasy team, needed this.
Needed this,
especially after last week. Those 11 points.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I scored 141 points and lost.
I can't do that again. So
You
James
scored 141 points and lost?
Yeah, I feel like MJ in the early Bulls.
All right, last one here I want to talk about is the Kentucky and Georgia preview. Kentucky goes on the road to Georgia, in between the hedges. Big win for Kentucky last week over Florida. Georgia had a close scare against Auburn. How you guys feeling about this one?
Well, I get like the generic narratives of this game, right? Georgia, and I use the word weakness, and very lightly here, has struggled against the run more than they have against the pass. I think a lot of that has to do with the 2 safeties, including Malachi Starks running around there. But like the general narrative is Kentucky runs the ball really well.
Yep.
They're one of the top teams in the country in explosive plays, and most of them on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy part. Against the Georgia run defense, that has been its weakest part. Love Ray Davis at Kentucky, so therefore Kentucky's going to be able to hang in the game because they're going to be able to run the ball against Georgia. And I get why people say that, right? Here's where you've got to have a little nuance and see teams develop, and not every week's the same, and not every general narrative is always the same. Georgia, one of the strengths of Kirby Smart is that his teams get better as the year goes on.
Mm-hmm.
They develop, right? And now you have young guys in places, or inexperienced guys in places, not just at quarterback, that are developing and getting better while winning. That is a luxury most teams do not have. Most teams, to develop and to build that winning identity, have to go through losing. Georgia's not having to go through that right now. And you can say about the schedule and this, but they've had some games where it's been a fight. You look at South Carolina at home, they've had to come back. I mean, Carson Beck's winking at the camera at halftime. I believe in that. Down 14-3. You go to Auburn, not playing well, slow start. Eventually, Georgia's not going to start slow in a game like that. It just doesn't happen every game like that. But all week, Kirby Smart is running around practice with that bullhorn, screaming about stopping the run and where's the leadership.
Yeah.
Okay? Every meeting that defense is in, they're screaming about stopping the run. Everywhere they go, there's probably signs all in facility. Start fast, finish faster. Stop the run, start the win. Whatever motto we're saying that's around there. So I don't trust Devin Leary if Georgia stops the run to be able to hit big plays in the pass game. I think Georgia's going to slow down Kentucky's run game because I think that's Kentucky's only move, and Georgia has the capability to do that. So I'm not buying in this whole Kentucky's going to be able to stay in it because they're going to be able to run it down Georgia's throat. And if you're one-dimensional, because a team like Georgia at home, between the hedges, I'm not touching the side in this, but the last time I checked, the over-under was 40, what's it at?
49.
49. I got it at 48.5. I can't believe it went up.
Yeah.
I don't think Kentucky's going to be able to run the ball as easy as what people are thinking. And I think Carson Beck and Georgia, and I like Kentucky's defense, right? Ladd McConkey's getting healthier. I think they're starting to find themselves in the run game a little bit. And that Georgia offensive line is elite. It is elite, especially in pass pro. So I like Georgia big in this.
Look, this has to be the game that Devin Leary plays like we know he's capable of playing. Last season at NC State was a disappointment. So far early this year, it hasn't looked great, but they're undefeated, and he's been relying on that run game. Now, he doesn't need to be Peyton Manning, but he needs to take advantage of the shots that he's going to get because Georgia, like you said, is going to load the box, especially after the way Auburn had success on the ground last week. Georgia's going to load the box and make Devin Leary beat them. He has to be able to take some of those shots. The identity of the game plan could still be, hey, we want to run the ball for Kentucky.
That's it's got to be.
But to open that up, Devin Leary has to have some success. I don't know if that means taking a couple shots early, even if you miss the shots, just showing Georgia that you're going to take them, maybe play action early on downs, 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, things like that. This has to be the game where that happens. Blaine, for you, 14.5 right now is the line. Is that too many? You saw Georgia up close and personal last week against Auburn. Is 14.5 too much, or when they go back to Sanford Stadium this week, do they just roll Kentucky?
I don't think it's too much, but I would definitely buy it down at 13.5, make it a 2-touchdown game. This is the thing that gets me about this game. If you'd watched the Auburn to Georgia game, Auburn was getting east and west a lot, sideline to sideline. Kentucky's a north and south running football team. It's hard to beat Georgia. Between
they love counter and power.
It's really hard. It's really hard to beat them through the line of scrimmage. And what else did Auburn do? To beat teams like this that are that good on defense, your quarterback has to be able to run. You got to be able to run because that's the hardest things for a defense to do for account for that guy as well.
Well, it's a hat for a hat.
It's a hat for a hat. And you saw Peyton Thorne kind of gas him with that. Had a 70-yard run. That's not who Devin Leary is. He has 9 carries for negative 20 yards.
It's a pro style
on the year. So if you can't do that and you're not getting huge runs, Georgia's going to start sitting on you. They're going to start strangling you, and that's what I kind of see happen. Ray Davis is an NFL running back, but you can only do so much against this team. I'm still waiting on this Georgia offense to really come along.
See, that
really come along.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, we talked all offseason about, hey, Georgia hasn't had a bunch of elite wide receivers, right? Even when Stetson was there and they were winning national championships, Dominic Lovett comes over from Missouri. All right, he's got 20 receptions. He's under 200 yards on the year. He's got no touchdowns. Longest receptions, 33 yards. And we can talk about injuries and all this stuff, but this is the reality where it is. Ra Thomas comes over from Mississippi State, guy they expected a lot of. 9 catches, 167 yards, 0 touchdowns. You have 0 combined touchdowns between Dominic Lovett and Ra Thomas. Rosemy-Jack-Saint, he's only got 1. Brock Bowers has 3 receiving touchdowns. The tight ends have 4, all right? Mekhi Muse has a receiving touchdown, right? And then you have Arian Smith that has a receiving touchdown. Now, Ladd McConkey's been hurt. Once Ladd McConkey comes back and he's at full strength, they're not just using him in spot duty, I think you're going to see it help more and more. But I do got to say this. I went back and watched the Auburn game again. Carson Beck's throwing a good ball, but he's got to put the ball in better spots. I mean, you consistently with the time he has. He's not having. He's sitting back there clapping, man. Bang, 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 bang. Like in the intermediate, he's getting the ball out on time and putting it in good spots. But he is for them to win the games at the end that they're going to have to win. You're going to have to put the ball in the tight windows, right? And I don't know if you're going to have the amount of time that you're having right now, as good as Georgia's offensive line is. But at some point, this wide receiver room has got to wake their ass up a little bit. And start being able to put the ball in the end zone. So it's, again, once they figure that out, I think they'll be in a better spot. But, I mean, somebody's got to come on now between Dominic and Ra.
You just can't get, if you're Kentucky, you just can't get beat by Brock Bowers, guys. I know it's easier said than done.
Good luck.
You just can't get beat by him. Someone else beat me.
What did Dan Patrick say? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, we talked a ton of Texas A&M, Alabama the past 2 days, too, if people are like, well, y'all didn't mention that.
I think you'll see Kentucky with that lack of quarterback run you're talking about. They'll supplement, or at least they should try and supplement with screen game, middle screen and tunnel screen a little bit.
South Carolina hurt Georgia
South Carolina
bad.
scored on that tunnel screen, and that's all well and good. But that can't be the only trick.
And
right?
the thing
you
about
have to call that the right time.
This isn't a super high-Q Georgia defense that we're used to seeing football smarts-wise. It's not as good as a tackling defense that we're used to seeing with Georgia. So there are holes there. Georgia does make mistakes, but if you're Kentucky, you have to capitalize on the mistakes. You have to capitalize on them early.
Well, I think you said it best. Georgia doesn't run sideline to sideline as well.
Yeah.
As they did the past couple.
What's interesting is some of Auburn's big runs were actually still up the middle, but it was off of east to west jet sweep pulls.
For sure.
With the
well, you had them spread thin. If I can spread you out and make you defend every quadrant, then I can in the middle, obviously. The more outflank you, the wider you got to get, and that's when I hit you in the middle. But you'll never be outflanked if you drink Black Rifle coffee.
Oh, that's big.
You'll be aware. You'll be ready. They have ready-to-drink cans. If you run an up-tempo offense, I'm sure Josh Heupel probably drinks this. So does Jeff Lebby. But their coffee subscription as well gives you the chance to purchase limited edition flavors. They just dropped the Halloween Pumpkin Spice Collection. That's right. Delicious. I mean, you're over there with Blackbeard's Delight, which is fantastic.
Ichabod Crane,
our cousin in arms over there. The Headless Horseman's Roast and the ready-to-drink Pumpkin Spice Espresso. The espresso so good, you'll say, yes, bro. All right, with pumpkin spice flavor so good, it'll haunt your taste buds forever. So, go to blackriflecoffee.com. Use promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER at checkout for 10% off your order. That's blackriflecoffee.com. Use promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER for 10% off. I'm telling you, this company is run by people that help out with veterans, that believe in the right stuff. I'm telling you guys, go check that out. blackriflecoffee.com and use our promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER at checkout, and you'll get 10% off. All right, let's go back to actually, real quick, David, a couple of interesting games tonight. Jacksonville State at Middle Tennessee State. Yeah. Remember, Jacksonville State's transitioning in the good way. They're 4-1. Going to a Middle Tennessee State, what? A Middle Tennessee State team that, again, is 1-4. They've played a tougher schedule. I'm rooting for Jacksonville State. I like Middle Tennessee State tonight. Rich Rod, your boy. And then FIU and New Mexico State. Wow, can't wait for that one. I'm just kidding. I love football, so I guess I'll watch it. But New Mexico State let me down week 1 against UMass. Jerry Kill.
People don't forget. People don't forget.
Yeah, Jerry Kill looked me in the eye with that new tattoo and let the whole city.
That was like 3rd grade, Jake.
Huh? Well, people don't forget. We'll get to that a little bit more in bets, but let's go ahead before we get to Parker, tune it up. You want a little get off my line?
Oh, yeah.
God, G off my L, Cone.
I put this one on the Booster Club. They had a say in this one.
God, I'm sweating right now.
All right, if you don't know, every Wednesday, Cone, who's really, technically 83 years old, trapped in a 30-something-year-old body. Somebody's on his lawn.
It's a lie.
All right? They need to get off it. So, Cone, who's showing up to your house, looking you in the eyes, and getting off your lawn today?
Rodney Harrison needs to get off my lawn.
Rodney hates me.
Following the Jets-Chiefs game Sunday night, former safety Rodney Harrison had this to say about Jets quarterback Zach Wilson while interviewing Pro Bowl tackle Chris Jones.
Was Zach better tonight than what you anticipated he would be watching him on tape? And you could be honest.
Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, we knew it was going to be a battle. He's continuing to get better week in and week out, and he's continued to lead week in and week out.
But watching that tape, man, you got to look at this dude and say, "Oh, he is garbage." Like we should really tear him apart
earlier. Like I said, Zach Wilson is special, man. You just got to give the guy time. You know what I mean?
Wait. Did you say Zach Wilson is special?
Yeah.
I think he had a special night, but I don't think he's special.
Not only is this unprofessional and disrespectful to Zach Wilson, but it's disrespectful to Chris Jones, trying to bait a guy into a negative soundbite about another NFL player and then doubling and tripling down on it. That doesn't meet the standard of the Shield. It doesn't meet the standard of the Brotherhood. I guess this shouldn't be surprising from a guy who was voted the dirtiest player in the league by his peers and coaches 3 different times, but still, Rodney played 15 seasons in the NFL. He should know better. Now, to add some perspective, I thought I was a pretty good football player, and I never took a pro snap. Zach Wilson is starting for the New York Jets. Now, has he lived up to his draft position? No. Will he end up being a bust? Possibly. But after universal criticism all week for his failures to fill in for Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers, including harsh remarks from Joe Namath, the second greatest Jets quarterback of all time behind Richard Todd, Zach responded by going 28 of 39, 245 through the air, 2 tuds, no picks, and a 105 quarterback rating against the defending Super Bowl champs, and we still can't show him any love? He outplayed Patrick Mahomes, the best in the game, and this is the moment we call him garbage? And Rodney, I would defend you the same way if someone called you trash for ruining the Patriots' perfect season by letting David Tyree moss you on the game's biggest stage. The all credit, though, to Chris Jones here. His response is the epitome of professionalism. And whether or not he really believes Zach Wilson is special is beside the point, because he didn't allow himself or his comments to become a distraction for his team, and he brought some dignity to the game of football, which it so badly needs. So, Chris Jones, hats off to you, sir. Rodney Harrison, stay off my lawn.
Yes, sir,
Yes.
Cone. You get off it, Rodney.
God, just stop hanging out on that lawn. Here's what I think. First off, like that just felt weirdly personal.
You think so?
Yeah, from Rodney Harrison. Like it just felt really. And to be honest with you, I like Rodney Harrison. Like I love listening to Rodney Harrison talk about football. But I'm not. And Chris Jones just smart, just like he plays.
I love
just a smart.
dude.
Well, just
I
a
love
smart
it.
player. He's not going to give anybody any ammunition against the Chiefs. Thank you for that. It's smart, right? But I just. Look, if you want to come out and say, look, these guys make a lot of money. Criticize them all you want when they don't play well. Or if you think this was a flash in the pan, ask Chris Jones, hey, do you think this was a flash in the pan?
Yeah.
Or do you think Zach Wilson may have figured something out? But to try and it's not like baiting to say that Zach Wilson, be different. Like I said, if you said, oh, this is a one-off.
Well, give me the facts. Give me the facts.
Well, give me the facts.
I'll decide if it's
But you know who
Yeah.
the real winner in this is? It's Zach Wilson. Rodney Harrison did Zach Wilson a favor.
You think so?
Yes, because now it went from Joe Namath is out here saying Zach Wilson sucks to everybody, let's feel bad for Zach Wilson because Rodney Harrison's trying to bait a Pro Bowler into talking trash about him. The narrative has flipped for Zach Wilson, at least this week, at least until he plays awful next week. Because this helped him out more than anything, because we're shifting the talk about, and it's, hey, Rodney Harrison has a problem with Zach Wilson after Zach Wilson played so well. It actually enhances how well Zach Wilson played, like you just mentioned. Everybody's saying now, like, Rodney, why would you say this after he outplayed Patrick Mahomes? Because if Rodney Harrison hadn't said that, you know what people would be saying? Oh, well, Zach Wilson, you played good one game. Maybe there's a little hope. Let's move on. He's going to play bad next week. Everybody knows it. But no, now Zach Wilson's a sob story, right? Now Zach Wilson's gained more fans because of this, and more people are rooting for Zach Wilson than ever before.
You need to be really careful criticizing guys who hook up with moms.
Yeah, that's very true.
Extremely careful. You're
That's
going to
very
criticize
true.
them. Next thing you walk in your house, they're both watching Cops. All right? So I'm just telling you, dude. Be careful, bro. Be careful.
Well, look, maybe that's the best.
What does he say on the Fansville commercial? He's like, he calls me dad.
He calls me dad now.
Maybe that's the best Zach Wilson will ever play. Maybe next week he'll fall apart like Jake said, and everyone will say, oh, see, Rodney Harrison was right. He is guard. That's beside the point.
It's the way you
You're
went
on
about it.
television, man.
Yeah.
It's the way
You're
you
on
went about it.
television.
It's real funny until you're going to
interviewing
church
another
together on Sundays. So
He calls me dad now.
He calls me dad now. But one of our favorite guests, we hadn't had him on in a while. We were talking about it all week, the Red River Shootout, our buddy Parker Thune from Rivals. I'm going to let him plug everywhere where he's at. He's on the radio, too, does a fantastic job covering more than just Oklahoma. Technically, he covers Oklahoma, but he does way more than that. Parker, what is up, dog?
Gentlemen, always a pleasure to be on your fine program, especially on the best week of the year.
Man.
I mean, this is the most storied rivalry west of the Mississippi. So a lot of folks in my neck of the woods looking forward very eagerly to what's going to go down this Saturday at the Cotton Bowl between Oklahoma and Texas, especially because the game means something this year.
For
I remember
sure.
being on this show with you guys last year and basically acknowledging, yeah, you know what? If Dylan Gabriel's not going to play, this could get real ugly real quickly.
Yeah, and it's too. Look, we got fall weather coming. I wish it would show up. I looked at the weather forecast. Looks like it's going to show up
This
at least
Saturday,
here soon. You've got Major League Baseball playoffs. You've got college football. You've got NHL.
going.
I mean, it's NFL as well. I mean, it's one of the best times, if not the best sports time of the year. You got golf. We just had the Ryder Cup. So we're starting to get into the meat and veggies of the conference schedule. But Parker, I want to start off. Obviously, injuries are a big part of the game. Just from an Oklahoma side, we got Kyle Umlang coming on later this week as well. Going to get it from the Texas side. How healthy, and I know you stop being 100% the minute you come out of the womb, but how healthy is Oklahoma coming into this game overall?
In an overall sense, they're pretty dang healthy. I mean, again, their starting quarterback is going to play, which is more than we could say for last year's iteration of the Sooners. They got stomped 49-0 in the Cotton Bowl. But They had one defensive starter at the cheetah position in Brent Venables' defense, which is that hybrid linebacker / nickel type of role. They had one starter lost to season-ending knee surgery, so he won't play. Fortunately, they've got good depth at that position, so they haven't really missed him to this point in time. Offensively, they've got a couple running backs who have been banged up. Javonte Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk both been dealing with some lingering, nagging injuries. But outside of that, this is a pretty healthy team heading into the Red River Showdown.
Yeah, which I want both teams at full health. And, if I'm an Oklahoma fan, if you're a true competitor, you want Texas at full health. If you're a Texas fan, you want Oklahoma at full health. You want to find out in these games. You don't want any excuses, this, that, and the other. But when I look at this team, and I talked about this during the offseason, Parker, Oklahoma, people are going to talk about Oklahoma because it's Oklahoma, but I don't think they were talking about them in as high of a regard as this Oklahoma team really was going to be. And I think last year, and as somebody that's so attached to it, and me, watching the games and kind of diving into the numbers from last year to this year, it seemed when I watched that Oklahoma defense last season, if anybody got to the second level, as crazy as it sounds, Oklahoma didn't have the athletes to limit explosive plays. It was if you got to the second level, you were gone. It wasn't taking those 70-yard plays, being athletic enough to run it down and keep it to a 45-yard play. Now you've got to string 5 or 6 more plays together to go score. It seems like Brent, through more development, right, of the guys he has, adding guys in the portal, recruiting and getting those guys ready, it seems that this Oklahoma defense is to a point now where it's not an athletic challenge. The challenge is schematically being right, which with Brent Venables and Ted Roof, they're going to schematically be right. Have you noticed just an athletic uptick on defense that's been able to limit those explosive plays?
Certainly, and I think that's only natural. When you look at what's going on out at USC with Alex Grinch's defense, I think it makes all the more sense how tough of a hand Venables was dealt getting Grinch's leftovers in year one at Oklahoma. So that was not a great situation from an athletic standpoint with that defense back in 2022. They processed a bunch of guys to the transfer portal, cut a bunch of dead weight. They recruited very well, brought in a couple of 5 stars in safety Peyton Bowen and edge rusher PJ Adebawara, both of whom have made an early impact for this program. So the turnover from that athletic standpoint has been pretty immense. And to that point, they're not allowing explosive plays to the degree that they were yesterday. They allowed a couple against Iowa State last week, but if you look over, you watch the film back, those were just guys making uncharacteristic.
Yeah, so guys ran into each other one time on a slant, and it just, some of them were fluky. I saw that.
Yeah, so all in all, though, this has been a pretty effective defense in 2023 thus far, particularly when it comes to tightening up against chunk gains and big plays down the field. They're averaging 10.8 points per game through 5 games. And again, obviously they haven't been challenged to the extent that they will be challenged this weekend against Texas, but they've got the 3rd best scoring defense in college football right now.
Yeah, and I mean, right now you've got the number 4, well, like you said, I mean, they're top 5 in scoring defense, and they're number 2 in the country in points per game. That's a pretty good mix, but the schedules have been a little bit different. We're going to a little bit different,
but Parker, I'm so excited for this game, and I think it's going to be one of the most important iterations of the Red River Shootout we see, because it's the last year in the Big 12, and then obviously this is the 3rd matchup, I think, where both these teams are 5-0 or better. I want to ask you about Dillon Gabriel. 1, do you think he turns the football over this game? And 2, how much does Oklahoma need Dillon Gabriel in the run game for them to beat Texas?
Ooh, see, both of those are really, really good questions. And let me start with the second one, because Oklahoma's run game in terms of their backfield this year has not lived up to expectations. That run game has not been what everybody imagined it would be. And I think that's the biggest question mark in the eyes of Sooner fans and in the eyes of a lot of analysts heading into this game is Oklahoma going to be able to run the ball effectively? And so, yeah, I do think they're going to need contributions from Dillon Gabriel in that regard. We've seen things open up for him as a runner. We've seen offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby kind of dial a few more plays from the playbook up for Gabriel to run the ball in a designated capacity than he did a year ago. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you now have a backup quarterback that you're confident in. They brought in 5-star freshman Jackson Arnold last year, who was one of the top 10 prospects in America. And so when you have a guy like that who, worst comes to worst, you can throw him into action and he's not going to be completely overwhelmed the way that the Sooners cast of backups were a year ago, particularly in that Texas game. Then you can afford to let your quarterback loose a little bit more. And that's what they've done with Dylan Gabriel. He's playing with an edge. He's a sneaky good runner, and they are probably going to need his legs a little bit in this football game to keep the offense humming, especially if they struggle to establish the traditional run game with their backs. And then as far as turnovers, as far as Dylan Gabriel and whatever propensity he may have to put the ball in harm's way, I think that's one of his greatest strengths as a quarterback is he's very, and I don't know that I would necessarily call it conservative because he does take a good amount of shots down the field, but he is quite adept at playing within himself and not jeopardizing the football, not putting the ball in spots when he makes throws where it's in legitimate danger of being picked off. He's got 19 total touchdowns this year. He's only got 3 turnovers. And gosh, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think if you looked at the career numbers, there wouldn't be more than 4 or 5 quarterbacks in college football, if that have a better touchdown to interception ratio than Gabriel. So I think when it comes to Oklahoma's advantages over Texas, that is one that I believe Gabriel has over Quinn Ewers, his counterpart in Texas, in that he has less of a penchant to turn the ball over.
We'll see.
Well, Parker, I want to talk about this defense. I want to get your thoughts. If you were Brett Venables, all right, and you're the defensive coordinator of this team, how are you slowing down Texas? Are you bringing pressure? Do you think you can get there before? Or you're sitting back? What do you think the best game plan will be for Oklahoma on defense?
I think it obviously starts with pressure. I mean, you have to generate pressure on Quinn Ewers, fluster him, because last year in this game, and I know Oklahoma basically had nothing going, so it's not as if this is what decided the game last year, but he had all day to throw. He had all the time he wanted last year, and it was statistically his best performance of the season, that game against Oklahoma. So you've got to get pressure up front. I think that starts with the Sooners' very capable cast of edge rushers, guys like Wake Forest transfer Rondell Bothroyd, Oklahoma State transfer Trace Ford, and a couple of guys that they recruited out of high school, and junior Ethan Downs, redshirt senior Marcus Stripling, who's been sneaky good lately, and then the true freshman that I mentioned, who is just a different animal in PJ Adebawara. So that's where it's going to start for Oklahoma, is up front, being able to consistently get pressure on Ewers and force him out of the pocket, force him to make quicker decisions than he would like. But the other thing you got to be mindful of is if Ewers is able to get the ball out quickly to his playmakers, then that's where Texas can really burn you. Brent Venables was asked yesterday in his press conference how he planned to stop the likes of Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell and the talented members of the Texas wide receiver core. And he basically said, look, if y'all got any ideas, you let me know, because it's going to be a struggle and it's going to be a challenge for this defense to be able to slow everything down. That said, Oklahoma's secondary has played really well through 5 games, and that's something people have noticed, because the secondary has not been a legitimate strength for this program in years, maybe upwards of a decade. So a lot of folks have been encouraged by what they've seen from Oklahoma's secondary thus far this year. But again, all of that is going to be put to a much stiffer test this weekend.
Yeah, and one thing I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. Texas is number 1 in the country in opponent red zone scoring percentage. Like number 1. Opponents are only scoring 50% of the time when they get into the red zone against Texas. So I'm very interested to see, because that's when you find out about play callers. We talk about this all the time, is that when you get inside that red zone, when that field shrinks, those safeties can come downhill a little bit more and you don't have as much space. How are you going to be able to manipulate that? But Jeff Lebby is one of the best. Tempo-wise, I want to ask you this too, Parker. How fast do you think, when you're playing against an offense like this in Texas, I know who Jeff Lebby wants to be. I know how Oklahoma operates. What type of pace are you expecting them to go fast in this game? To go as fast as they can to try, because it's a good Texas defense. You have to use advantages that you have. But what kind of pace and tempo are you expecting out of Oklahoma in this game?
Yeah, there are no hypotheticals at play, guys. This team, this offense, they've got one speed when they are in rhythm, and it is lightning fast. They're trying to snap the ball within the first 8 to 10 seconds of the play clock. So that's where I think you can get this Texas defense on their heels. And that's where you really take the initiative and you put the onus on them to keep up, is if you're consistently throughout the early stages of the game able to establish that rhythm. I think everybody, when I'm on the radio, every single year before this game, somebody will text in and ask, what do you think Oklahoma does with the coin toss if they win? Which is just that's the extent to which people are scrutinizing every single aspect of this game amongst the two fan bases. But I think if Oklahoma wins the coin toss, they take the ball first and they make every effort, A, to demonstrate that this is not the same hamstrung offense that the Longhorns saw a year ago, and B, they're going to come out with tempo and they're going to make you keep up, and they're going to take it upon themselves to set the pace of play.
Without a doubt.
Well, I just worry about, let me ask you this. Are you ever worried about a slow start? Because if you go through schedules, all right, I mean, Texas, you've seen Rice, Bama, Wyoming, Baylor, Kansas, some somewhat real competition. Then you go through Oklahoma's schedule. I mean, it's not terrible. Arkansas State, Tulsa, SMU, Cincinnati. But you haven't seen speed like this the entire year, and Texas have seen it. So are you worried about a slow start a little bit for this defense, having to adjusting for the athletes and the speed on this Texas offense?
Yeah, no doubt, especially when you look at what's happened in this game each of the last 2 years. 2021, Oklahoma started incredibly slow in that contest. They trailed 28-7 at the end of the first quarter, and they had to dig all the way out of that enormous hole behind the second quarter insertion of Caleb Williams. I mean, that was the day where we witnessed the birth of a legend. That was the Caleb Williams game. The Sooners ended up winning that one 55-48. But similarly, last year, man, Texas seized the initiative from the get-go. Oklahoma was immediately playing from behind. And when you have virtually nothing going for you offensively, you can't afford to let that happen. Now, Oklahoma's offense is much stronger. It's going to run with a lot more efficiency this year. Again, the defense has been stronger, and they've been good at tightening up and not letting the snowball roll downhill when an opposing offense starts to gain momentum. But even so, man, with as talented as this Texas group is at the offensive skill positions, no, you certainly do not want to you don't want a slow start against a program like this, because then you run the risk of falling behind by double digits and having to continually play catch up over the final 45 minutes of play or so. So, no, look, Oklahoma has to start fast. That's one of the things that I think they have to accomplish if they're going to pull the upset in this football game.
Definitely. Well, Parker, we're never upset when you come on here, my friend.
Yeah,
great stuff as usual. We're excited for the game. We're excited. Not that the game didn't mean anything, but you have two teams that look to be legitimate threats in a year where, I mean, there's more parity than we've seen in college football in a long time. Tell everybody where they can follow your work, and we'd love to get you on again soon.
Yeah, at Parker Thune on Twitter. There's only one of me, so you'll find me. But OUinsider.com on the Rivals Network, if you're a Sooners fan, is the place to go for all your football and recruiting scoop. And then you can listen to me 12 to 3 p.m. Central Time weekdays on KREF here in the state of Oklahoma. Or if you download the KREF app, you can listen from anywhere in the world if you're in the mood for Sooner talk.
Definitely. Well, Parker, thanks, Parker.
Appreciate it, Parker. Good luck this weekend, man.
All right, Parker Thune, check him out.
You take it easy.
Of course.
There's only one of me, too. All that Yankees pitcher talk.
Well, yesterday I noticed David Cohn was on one of the calls of the game.
Look, I do it all.
I just wonder how you got there.
I do it all.
So
There's only one of me. All
what
right?
do you know? Maybe you and Elon have been
replacement
hanging
code
out.
thinks.
Or are you actually Elon? That's the real question.
Yeah.
All right, quickly, Booster Club, and get to calls.
All right, go Deeks. 35, $5 donation. Y'all pray for my Deeks this weekend. That over just keeps rising and rising.
Call it Cam.
Rising. Get out of my head, Jake. We're going to need a fishes and loaves kind of miracle Saturday.
Yeah, listen, love Dave Clawson. Love the slow mesh at Wake. Clemson's pissed off. Played good against Syracuse. I don't think that train's going to stop rolling. Cade Klubnik starting to put the puzzle pieces together. You can see it.
I like the under in that game.
Look, I don't think you're crazy. I got screwed out of one over of Wake Forest and Old Dominion, but we're not talking about that.
All right, let's go to Sergeant Saggy Nips with the $5 donation. What's up, Sergeant? Where's
is that the brother of Lieutenant Perky Nips?
No,
that and pants to my tits.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Major, what was the other one? Major.
God, who knows? I don't know.
Let's go. He says, it sounds like old Urban is interviewing for the MSU head coaching job.
I think they heard you, Jake.
Listen,
they heard what you said.
Listen,
Why you talk different
I
than
need to see some more reports about it being true. But I'll say what I said before. You trying to win or what?
Please, God, no.
You trying to
No,
win or
we
what?
just got rid of this guy.
Yeah, no.
we
You
You know how
trying to
bad
win or
they
what?
want to win? You still watch that documentary on Netflix, and you're still going to hire him.
Yeah, they're watching Swamp Kings, and at the end, the Michigan State AD is like,
Sold.
Get him in here.
Sold.
how much you going to take?
Yeah. All right, let's go to Hayford's $5 donation. Stop. Hammer time. The St. Nicholas Charles Hayford's Level Up Day.
Nice.
Happy birthday to my forever camp boyfriend. Have the best day, babe.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
bud.
level up day.
Let's go to Spy Guy 024 with a $5 donation. The streak is over, fellas. My twins finally figured it out.
Yes, there he
But
is.
You know what is better than one win? 2 wins.
Don't get greedy.
I
Oh,
have
he's
tasted
greedy.
victory.
Don't get greedy.
And I can't get enough. He's chasing the
sipping.
dragon, fellas.
Chasing the dragon, sippeth from the cuppeth.
Sippeth.
Let's go to Max Destruction Ken with a $5 donation. First live show in a minute. Let's hear it for the D-backs' first postseason win
Yeah.
since 2017. Scrappy group.
Breaking bricks out
Real
here.
question, though. Who will Auburn go get for that number one true quarterback?
Look, I think we keep giving Peyton Thorne a little bit of time. I like what I saw a little bit more as he gets used to SEC speed. I wonder if he'll kind of figure it out. But I need to see who's in the portal first before you just go start reaching. Kid at Liberty right now is playing pretty good, but I don't know. I got to see more of them. We got to see what's out there first. Like, look, you only get what the market bears, right? Like, you can't go out there and just invent a player to go get. Let's see what's in the market, and then we'll start. Maybe if we need to go there, but let's see. Let Peyton Thorne, hold up. Woody from Toy Story, let him cook.
Let him cook.
All right, War Chant Illinois says, hashtag ask the Bays. Will Brett Bielema fire Barry Lennon Jr. as offensive coordinator, and why should it be Tada?
Look, by the way, did you see that fire? There's like a fire at Illinois Stadium or something.
I didn't see it.
Anyway, I thought I saw that on social. Somebody fact checked me there. Here's where I'm at with Illinois' offense. Brett Bielema, we know, is very, very involved. Brett Bielema has a certain style that he likes to run. I don't know if you make the move to fire him yet. I love Altmaier. I think Altmaier's a pretty good player. I really do. It just seems like Illinois doesn't have a ton of playmakers to help him out. If you were going to fire him, I don't think it's as much for play calling, as much as not having great personnel around them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a couple guys that the back's not bad. Got the wide receiver number 1, Isaiah Williams. He's not a bad player, but I just don't see the personnel. Like, I'm watching Illinois' personnel they just had on defense in the NFL right now absolutely ball out everywhere, whether it's Sidney Brown, whether it's Witherspoon running interceptions back for touchdowns and Monday Night Football. I just don't know if Illinois has the best personnel right now, and they're struggling to somewhat have an identity. But no, I don't think he'd make the move right now because Brett Bielema, I mean, he takes the offense personal too now. Don't think Brett's not one of those just CEO guys, hands off. Let's make sure the machines are turned on when I get to work. I mean, he's down there turning the wrench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. This is from our friends over at On3. A fire was reported at Illinois Memorial Stadium on Tuesday night. A later update added that the fire was contained to a utility terrain vehicle in the stadium and that the damage was minimal with more smoke than fire. So there's more smoke than fire, guys.
Well, it sounds like
Their offense went on fire.
Like the way Illinois has been playing.
All right, let's go to MH06. He says, Bama and Texas go down this weekend. Double upset.
I'm leaning toward Texas A&M right now. Haven't made my mind up yet, but I'm leaning that way. It's hard for me to go against Texas because I just feel like they're a complete team. If Oklahoma can't run the ball, I don't care how fast they go. They're not going to win this game because I think Texas is going to be able to score. Sark's too good of a play caller. They have too many players on the outside. That offensive line's too good. They're starting to figure it out in the run game, averaging 5 yards a carry. They're able to do that against Oklahoma. Not that Oklahoma's Kansas, not that Oklahoma's Baylor, but Texas is going to win. So look. Anything can happen. This year in college football, who the hell knows, to be honest with you. But I do know I want to get to calls.
Well, we got Hunter on the line from Arkansas, and I want to hear what he has to say. Hunter, what's up?
Good morning, boys.
What's up, man?
First off, horns down.
Yeah, okay.
Horns
we
down.
knew that.
I can understand that.
And so I'm not going to be able to do it as well as David Cohn, but I have a get off my line.
Oh, it's a
for
movement,
a
buddy.
certain individual
Go ahead.
Do it.
that happened in the Chargers-Raiders game. Jerry Tillery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this.
So, first off, you can barely touch the quarterback when he's in the pocket. So what made you think hitting him 8 yards out of bounds on the Chargers sideline thought it was a smart move there?
That was dirty.
Like, I think, the reason why we didn't re-sign you to a big contract, one, because you were a bust of a first-round pick, and two, you were like the third most penalized defensive player in the league your entire career for doing dirty hits like that. Like, I don't know why he thought it was like, oh, let's hit Justin Herbert on the sideline full of Chargers. Like, I don't know if he just thought he was on the Raiders sideline or what, but like that was too dirty.
Well, I mean, they kicked him out of the game. I mean, you really want to hurt your former team? Go sack him in the pocket. Go force a fumble in the game. Hit him where it hurts on the scoreboard. That was just dirty, right? And these guys, it's amazing. If you go watch an NFL practice, like the body control these guys have, there's not guys going to the ground. They know when to say when. Even in the games, they know when to say when. That one was blatant, like freshman in college trying to make a play in one of his first games, just not thinking. But that was 100% blatant. And you know it's bad when your own coaching staff is over there telling you, man, like you can't, like that's ridiculous.
Well, if you're the Chargers, you love the way you reacted on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love the way you reacted on the sideline. It was the whole squad.
The whole squad. It was the whole squad. But now I'm with you, Hunter. That's a good call.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was like, there's no way he thought that was a smart idea. Because he actually like sped up the closer Herbert.
No, he knew what he was doing.
100%. He made his mind up.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
He'll catch a fine for that. It's gonna hurt his pockets for sure.
That FedEx. That's gonna be a heavy FedEx. Heavy FedEx.
Appreciate it, Hunter.
Appreciate it, Hunter.
Thanks, Hunter.
Good day, bud.
Man. All right, let's go to William in Austin, Texas. William, how you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling great this morning, boys. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Appreciate it.
You can call me the software sorcerer of the South, boys.
Software sorcerer of the South. That's dirty.
Wow, the triple S in the house.
I like that.
I'm a CS graduate from the University of Texas at Austin. And I got some word for the enemies of the University of Texas.
Let them know.
The premier institution of Texas.
Do you want the music, William? Do you want the music? Do you want the music behind you in this one?
Oh yeah, sure.
Hey, PJ, let's get this man some emotional music. It's rivalry week. All right, here we go, William.
It's a vibe.
All right, first to Brett Yormark and the Texas, technically a University Red Raiders, I have one thing to say. Congrats on winning your first game against an FBS team. Your 2-3 record definitely scares me, and I hope the commissioner does come to Austin to watch the massacre that we will bring to your sorry team. The losers in College Station wearing overalls, y'all cried your way into getting a home field advantage after you couldn't get away from stopping us from joining the league, and we look forward to watching the heir apparent to the Manning family whoop y'all 49-0. Finally, speaking of 49-0, to Chad in Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel, and every other loser from your state, Daddy Texas didn't give y'all permission to talk trash.
Whoa!
Y'all want to talk trash sooner? You first have to actually score points against your rival. Last year, y'all started 3-0, and that didn't stop the leash we put you on as we took you on a dog walk. This year, we extend our 13-game series lead, despite losing almost all of them in the last 10 years, by one more as our defense suffocates your mid-QB, and your defense gets lit up by what you call Mr. Tub Miscuers, who, by the way, isn't fat anymore.
He's not fat.
Nice.
Your mascot is literally a mobile home, and your quote Oklahoma Pride is in a team comprised entirely by Texas players, basically.
No.
Hey, well done.
Big 12, you saw what we did to Baylor and Bama.
Yeah.
So best be relieved you won't have the brakes beat off of us by us anymore.
Wow.
Welcome, boys.
What a first call. What a first call. What a first call.
You let him know. You let him know.
Daddy Texas didn't give you permission.
The software sorcerer of the South.
That was dirty. That's up there now.
I've never heard. Listen.
All right.
And again, we let fans go. We're not taking sides.
Chad.
That man said your mascot's literally a mobile home.
Chad.
You walked in the house, he's just making a sandwich out of your fridge.
Chad right now just got out of his car, just like
Chad's that Arthur meme.
He's on high alert.
Just shaking his fist.
He's typing the numbers in the phone.
Way to bring the heat, William. Way to bring the heat.
Oh, it's good.
Thanks for calling in. All right, let's go to Andrew in Pennsylvania. Andrew, good luck following that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I'm excited that the Eagles and Phillies won this week.
Yeah.
That was good. But it made me think, what Eastern Division is the best Eastern Division? The AL East, the NL East, the AFC East, the NFC East, the SEC East, or the Big Ten East?
Well, I could tell you in song. I could tell you in song form if you want me to play the Braves music. But
all right. So again, first off, this is a phenomenal question.
Yeah, it is.
Man, I'm not going to go AFC East because you got two quality teams, right? Bills and Dolphins. The NL East, you got three playoff teams, right? Braves, Marlins, Phillies. I'm going Big Ten East.
Yeah.
Right?
Did he say
Penn
SEC?
State? I'm taking the Big Ten East over the SEC.
Shaking out like that.
Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State?
Even though, is he opening this up to
Georgia, Texas,
to
Kentucky,
Major League Baseball?
Missouri?
It ain't the Middle East.
Yeah. We won't open it up that far.
Yeah, their offense isn't that good this year.
Yeah. They're explosive, though.
Yeah, they are. They are.
I'm going to go Big Ten East, Andrew.
What do you think, Andrew?
I was actually going with the Big Ten East, too, with
Nice.
the AL East second, because I think the Yankees and Red Sox aren't great this year, but they're not bad. Like the
I can see Orioles won the American League and outright. The Rays made the playoffs. The Jays made the playoffs. But you can say the same. The AL East and the NL East are like the same.
I'll tell you, if Aaron Rodgers stayed healthy for the Jets, the AFC East.
They'd have
already
good
Bills
argument.
and Dolphins.
They'd have a good argument.
But
I'm going to go
100%.
Big Ten East. That's a good question.
I think that's
Andrew.
right. I think that's right.
Yeah, and sorry, just team, but the NFC East is out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Walk around with that.
I'm surprised the Giants are playing this bad. I really am. I really am.
I am
Brian
too.
Daboll there.
Hey,
in year
I am
two.
too.
On the Eagles, Andrew, I was a little surprised to see the Eagles give up so many points to the Redskins this weekend. Look, Sam Howell balled, but I had the under in that game, and man, I mean, they needed everything they could to squeak out a win in that one.
Yeah, they haven't been playing the first half at all. Like they just decided they want to see what they can do in the first half and not try till the second half in any of the games.
Well, like I look at Jalen Hurts too. Like, right, you can tell Jalen Hurts is to the point now where, like, not that he doesn't care about the regular season, but like he's not excited about wins anymore. Like they kicked that game-winning field goal and he just like got up and like, well, he wants that Super Bowl.
Yeah, he does.
After what happened last year, right? Now when you can tell this is a one-game mission, which that's great. That's great. But I could just see the look on Jalen's face.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. I saw my boy Brandon Graham out there running around trying to recover
32.
fumbles. I'm like, come on, where are some of the young guys? Where are some of those guys we drafted from
Where's
Georgia?
his son?
Stop having BG do all the work on defense still. Anyway, Andrew, we appreciate you calling in, man.
Appreciate it, Drew.
Hey.
Good question.
Call in next week, brother. All right, let's go to Chase in California. Chase, what's up?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, is this Chase Mills?
Yes. So Jake, I was going to start off with that really quick. I was going to start off tying this all together because I hadn't done it yet the last couple times I called.
Tie it up.
Chase calling right now is Millie on X and Chase Mills on YouTube. Those are all the same person.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice.
Okay. So, So I think you guys know what I came in here to talk about. I want to run through it quick, some Red River, and then I want to give you guys a chance to talk and then give you guys a chance to get to another call because I don't want to
All
hog the
right.
line.
Yeah, buddy, go ahead.
So, first things first, I just want to say William did make a great point. They have nearly lost the last 10 games, 7-3 to be exact, if you were looking for the number on it.
Nice.
But I wanted to start this off with a little poem that I wrote 15 minutes at work yesterday, just sitting there thinking about the game.
God, I love it.
Pop one of the rhymes in my head, put the rest together, put this together. Here we go.
Yeah, you're like B-Rabbit.
On October 7th at the Cotton Bowl, OU and Texas will be ready to roll. Texas fans think they have this game won, but they seem to have forgot that they are our son. DG, BV, and Danny too. Shorthorns, it's going to be a long day for you.
Hook 'em horns irks me for so many reasons. Just a reminder, UT has won 10-win season in the last 14 seasons.
Is that it right
now?
Go ahead.
That was the poem. That was my poem.
Hey, well done.
Good IQ, buddy.
Bars.
So I will say, moving on to the game now, this is my two things I have to say. I know Texas on paper, they're the better team. I don't argue with that. I think that if you do the paper thing, though, I don't think Oklahoma gets enough credit. I think that the names when you do the on paper thing, you just can't. Oklahoma doesn't get enough credit when you see names, you know. Because I just told somebody in the chat earlier, Adonai Mitchell's a great player. I know he's a great player, but he's going to be guarded by Gentry Williams, and Gentry Williams is not a slouch at the cornerback position.
No, there's some
fantastic this year for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's something that I haven't really been buying into as far as the on paper thing, but I do recognize that Texas is the better team on paper if we're just stating an objective fact.
Give me a score, Chase. What do you think the score is?
Okay. So score, I have it. I'm going to go Oklahoma 33-28.
Okay.
And these are the two keys to the game for me that I keep coming back to. So for me, the first one on the Texas side, I think Texas, in my opinion, they're a second half team from what they've shown this year.
Great.
They've scored over 100 points in the second half, and I think the number that was like mid 70s in the first half this year. So they score a lot more points in the second half. Oklahoma has only allowed 17 points in the second half all season, and they've pitched 2 second half shutouts.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's a kudos to the coaching staff on both
for sure.
sides
That's
of the
exactly
ball.
right.
I mean, you have elite schematic wizards coaching both your teams, so it's going to be a boss battle in the second half.
It's a game of adjustments. That's what I was saying yesterday.
Yeah.
I let off the show with the adjustments in this game. It's going to be elite. It's going to be answer. The question typically is who has the last answer.
Yeah.
And that's what I can't wait to see. But Chase, thanks for calling in, buddy.
Hell yeah,
Chase.
Thanks,
Call
guys.
in next week after the game.
Go ahead.
Just really quick before you go, I do wanted to say, hey, Cone, Andrew Anthony, he is a beast, dude.
Yeah. He's a good player, man.
He is a beast. I mean, I would love to have seen what he could have done with McCarthy, but man, I am thankful for that.
Had really high expectations for him at Michigan just based off his talent level, but I wish him all the success in the world. All those guys, they contributed to the program, move on and have success. I love it.
Yeah, that was crazy when he looked at you and he was like, this is all your fault.
Me?
Yeah.
Look, I got broad shoulders.
Keep chasing Mills, baby.
Keep chasing Mills.
Have a good one, guys.
All right,
call in next week after the game. All right, Chase? All right, last one today. Let's get to Cody in Arkansas. Cody, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Man, I'm glad to be on. Been listening to you guys for quite some time, but finally calling in for my first time here.
Dude, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I just wanted to call. I'm a former player. I live here in Northwest Arkansas, right next to the University of Arkansas, and I wanted to call in last week. I was considering it based on a caller who called in about the neutral site games. He said that he disagreed with your guys' position, and while I respect his opinion, it was clear he was coming from a fan's perspective. He referenced Florida and Georgia. I think it was a Florida guy. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he was down in Daytona Beach.
Got it. Okay. Well, I wanted to kind of give another side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Having been a former player, because I got pretty strong thoughts. And
Go ahead.
I just want to kind of break down some of those out. So before we get into it, we're going to make like Kent Murphy. We're going to break this down from a fundamental
standpoint. That's exactly right.
Come on, you know it.
Go give me some cheese dogs.
Well,
I'll think about it.
Well, I tell you what. So the caller made 3 points that I want to tackle here. The first 2 points are sort of coupled together. He said, one, to address the travel issue, we're going to make it so that in this case, Florida and Georgia both are equidistant to the location, right? So it negates any inherent advantage by either team. Okay, so he said that. He then coupled that with saying, in addition to it, we're going to divide the tickets 50-50. 50 Florida, 50 Georgia. Again, we're going to negate any inherent advantage from either team. And to that, I just want to stop and say, this is where we're wrong from the get-go. All right? The premise of we're going to do away with any inherent advantage is faulty. And here's what I mean. Let's take off the lens. Spectator here. Let's put on the lens from a player and a coach's perspective. Home field advantage. This is college football, guys. One of the pillars that distinguishes college football from any other league.
Agreed.
Home field advantage, right? Jordan Hare Stadium under the lights, Cone, the big house, Michigan. Man, it is like none other. Okay, it's not 11 on 11 at that point, right? It's 80,000 plus versus 11. That's what we're dealing with. You get that energy, you start feeling it down in your plums.
Yeah,
right?
getting all blue hue to him. Sun dancing off.
Love your muscle shit.
Hey, it's kind of like the Grinch, when he saw them people down singing the song at the end. His heart grew 3 times larger.
Exactly
like
right.
Same thing, just with your plums, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, here's my point. This man would do away with all that. His third point that he said, because it's the uniqueness of the event, of the location, the uniqueness of the game. I got a better idea. With all due respect, I got no beef with Florida, all right? Like I said, I'm calling from Arkansas. I'm speaking to myself when I say this. Why don't we take that energy that we apply to the uniqueness of the location? You have Georgia come to the swamp. That's going to increase your percentages of actually having the uniqueness of winning.
Yeah. No, and
I tell you,
well, to me, unique. Look, you're meeting to play games in Miami. You're meeting to play games in Dallas. You're meeting to play games in Atlanta. They have big events there all the time. There's nothing unique about a big event happening in New York. What's unique is when it happens in Oxford, right? What's unique is when it happens in Fayetteville. I don't see Cirque du Soleil going to Lee County a lot.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see the Grammys showing up in Fayetteville, right? Like it's unique to go to these smaller towns that run on those events, right? That the economy is boosted by those events. They have to have it, where it's very important to the health of the city. So, the next time they have the Tony Awards in Starkville, Mississippi, please let me know.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, and let me just a couple more real quickly. What actually led me to call in is because I had to witness this past weekend Arkansas get their behinds handed to them while they played a quote unquote home game.
Yeah.
Very world, where they took their 11th loss out of the last 12 meetings with A&M. How's the uniqueness of that location, huh? I'd rather win because we're going to be close to not even making a bowl game if we don't watch out. So, I'm not against neutral site games or the idea. All my point is, from a player's perspective, is let's earn the right to play to a neutral site, and that happens in bowl games, playoffs.
Agreed. There you go. 100%. Great call,
dude.
Please,
Man, that was awesome, Cody.
Definitely.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Good luck. Going forward too. No, I agree with him. And again, it's interesting, different perspectives to get on this. But Blaine, let's get to the Booster Club before we get to
Bacon Eater wants to know, what are the chances that Oklahoma and Texas meet 3 times? Rivalry game.
Not good.
Championship game.
No.
Playoffs.
No.
Maybe.
Twice. I think they'll play twice. But I really do. Because again, if let's say Oklahoma loses to Texas, wins out the rest of the way, Texas wins out the rest of the way, Texas going to the Big 12 championship, Oklahoma doesn't have the tiebreaker over Texas, but Texas is going anyway.
Yeah.
So, and if Texas don't lose and Oklahoma doesn't lose, they're going to meet again.
All right, let's go to Winners 8506. He says, how good do you think the Buckeyes would be right now if Quinn Ewers never left?
And listen, I like Kyle McCord. Okay, I think Kyle McCord is going to continue to grow into a good player. But you put this version of Quinn Ewers, Skinny Quinn, Skin Ewers, Squin Ewers, how about that? Squin Skewers?
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Skewers,
with
Oklahoma?
Marvin Harrison Jr. and Igbuka and Stover and that running back room with dude. Yeah. A lot of points. They wouldn't have scored 17 against
like
Notre
last
Dame.
year when they had C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, that's what it would have been.
Yeah, literally.
Who's looking pretty good.
One thing on Oklahoma, they don't play Kansas State. So Texas will play Kansas State. Oklahoma and Kansas State don't play. So let's keep that in mind when we talk about the finalists for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, good call.
Forward.
Freddie Ginger Gang says, "Oh man, I called the wrong number," and Stephen A. Smith yelled at me about Jimmy Butler's hair.
Yeah, just did you see Jimmy Butler's hair? Like,
did.
I wish we had a.
Oh, y'all wait till Friday.
Oh, wait till Friday.
Wait till Friday.
Yeah.
What did you say? What were you saying? It's like you look at Jimmy Butler. It's like tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. You're gone. You made me change my mind. You won't get it until it's too late, Dad.
Wait, is there a surprise Friday?
There is.
Is there a surprise
There's
Friday?
a surprise on Flamin' Dragon Friday.
All right. Let's go. A couple more.
Let's go to Cohen Lewis with a $5 donation.
Tonight.
War Eagle, don't get me wrong, I'm upset about the loss, but I think that the game was the spark we needed for the rest of the season.
Well, look, it's like I've said multiple times. You losing should never be acceptable at a place like Auburn, but reality should be accepted. You got to know where you're at. Auburn's building. That doesn't mean you can't be critical of certain things that happen, in the games. But if you're an Auburn fan, like the hope level you have after watching Auburn to be able to compete with as deficient of a team as they will have under Hugh Freeze. I know this isn't the best Georgia team in the last 3 years, but that was a different showing by Auburn than what we've seen in Georgia a lot of times. And like I said, with a big personnel deficit, because Hugh and them need time. You had to basically pitch a perfect game from a coaching plan or coaching staff and player standpoint, which is almost impossible, and they almost did it when you look. But if you're a recruit at that game, sometimes there's small wins and losses. Now the coaches can actually go to that recruit and say, look, we are actually one player. We are you away from not being able to compete with Georgia, but beat Georgia, the number one team in the country. And they can look at that and watch that game and say, you know what? This isn't some BS line, because they can tell. Those players can tell.
Yeah, quickly, Aiden Losh. Do you think that the Tigers can still win the World Series this year? I know they didn't make the playoffs, but I still have faith. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I love it.
They got a shot.
All right. I'm almost afraid to talk about how good it's going for us this month in bet. Should I not even just mention it?
Well, you just mentioned it.
No. I haven't given a number or anything like that. Don't?
No.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Here's what I got. Tonight, Middle Tennessee is hosting Jacksonville State. All right, bought this down. I'm not taking anything at 3.5. I'm not doing it. Why would I do that? It's like taking it at 6.5. I'm not doing it. I bought it down. Give me Middle Tennessee State at home. I think they show up against Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, heck of a story. Rich Rod out here figuring out a way. That game against St. Houston State about sent me to Shutter Island. But give me Middle Tennessee State minus 2.5 at minus 142. And then I'm going to take the under. I'm not betting FIU New Mexico State. I'm not doing it. All right?
Do it.
Do it. Touch my ass, Matabi.
Give me Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee State under 52. So that's Middle Tennessee minus 2.5. Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee under 52. Went 2-0 yesterday thanks to the Twins and the Phillies. David, you know what that makes me?
That makes us all happy. Hold on. Scanning.
You make me happy.
Same here, 2-0, thanks to my new adopted team, the Rangers. Big hit there. But I'm going to go
69 cents a day.
Marlins, Phillies, Nerfy, minus 125 tonight. And Rangers, Rays, Nerfy, minus 1.
Nerfy's in the playoffs, man.
I love it. 2-0 yesterday. Can I get a bow to your sensei?
Oh, yeah, you want to bow to your sensei?
Yeah, hit that button.
Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei.
That's where I'm going.
We went 6-0 combined yesterday?
Yeah.
No one's talking about it.
No, see.
Let's keep bringing it up and not talking about it. It's great.
That's exactly, David, what I said I didn't want to do.
No one's talking about it.
All right, win the Nerfy gang yesterday. Love it. I'm going to go back with one Nerfy today. I'm going D-backs, Brewers, Nerfy, minus 130. I had a little tingle this morning when I got up.
Yeah.
You have
it was in my Achilles, right? So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people say the same thing. Maybe that happened to Tua. He bumps his head, you turn into a superhero. Maybe this is a real thing. Bryce Harper's going to hit a home run today.
Okay.
That's plus 460.
Wow.
Plus 460.
Wow.
Drop a little cash on it.
Dangerous,
right?
man.
Sprinkle.
I'm the only one betting football tonight. That's fine. Whatever. Look, I'll Jon Snow this whole thing. Send the White Walkers at me. Ace, he's going to go raise money line looking to try and bounce back, right? Going against Papa Bear. Interesting. And then he's also going to take the Blue Jays on the money line. They're trying to bounce back. Plus 120. So the two teams that lost winning today. And I love how the wild card's not just one game anymore.
Oh, yeah. I like this.
I think that's great.
Good format.
Kyle Kennedy laid the -3.5 with MTSU. My simulations make it -7 with a 65% cover probability.
Why would you not just buy it down to 2.5?
Why won't you let me go?
Why won't you let me go?
Poll.
Who
wins? Missouri or LSU this weekend?
Missouri or LSU? LSU 59%.
Hold on. LSU 53%.
Hold on, I'm going to guess. LSU 54.
Ooh,
wow.
The Price is Right. By the way, I saw a clip of Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Isn't that his name? The guy who plays Jesse? On The Price is Right.
Really? Celebrity Price is Right, right?
No.
Before he was an actor.
Before he was an actor.
He was on The Price is Right?
Yes.
That's
and
what aspiring
won.
actors
Was he
would
good?
do.
He won?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's weird.
It was weird. It's him, for sure. It's 100% him.
Someone cooked here.
Somebody did cook here. And hopefully you cook that like button up. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't. We really appreciate you guys. Parker Thune, great stuff. We got Kyle Umlane coming on tomorrow for the Texas side of it. You know we got it covered like a fat kid at a birthday party. So appreciate you guys. And like the chances of the Braves getting kicked out of the playoffs tonight, we're going.
Hit the ground.
Gone. Didn't hit the ground.
chair.
Didn't hit the ground. It hit my leg.